Okay, hi guys. So I'm here to respond to the question and answer post that I did on Instagram. So basically, I wanted to try and find a way that I could connect with you guys. So I'm going to try this and we'll see how it works. Now, there are quite a lot of questions, so I am going to do my best to answer them as quickly and as thoroughly as I can. However, I think it's going to have to be something where it's like a 2 or 3-parter. So that being said, I'm going to go straight into it. How are you able to maintain lean mass when having a low calorie diet? Okay, basically, if your calories are too low, you will burn muscle. So you need to be very, very, very careful. It all depends also on why your calories are low. If it's to get rid of body fat, then you have to be very careful. It has to be a very slow process. If you kind of put competing into it, it's, when you prep for a show and you want to lose body fat but keep muscle, that is something that, 16 weeks. You're not talking about a few weeks to kind of just, put your calories down, lose some fat, but not lose muscle. So it's a very, very slow process and something that shouldn't be taken lightly. Muscle takes a long time to build. So we don't want to kind of just get rid of it by being on a low calorie diet. So I think the best thing to say in that is just to do it very slowly. And again, it kind of depends. If you're on a low calorie diet to get to a desired look that is maintainable, get to your desired look and then see what calories you're on, see how you're training. If you can manage that and maintain it, then stick with it. And then just say, right, that is my maintenance and that's where I'm at. So, next question. How often do you train a week and how long for? So I train 6 times a week resistance and my sessions roughly last about 1 hour. I'm in my in-between season at the moment, so I will be starting prep very soon. So I feel like I've got a good amount of energy that I can do an hour, just over an hour, and feel really good and productive from it. When I start prep, it will be a little bit less. But at the moment, I'm feeling good. I don't really tend to go, I think probably the longest I'll train for is about an hour and 15 minutes. And then anything after that, I kind of just get a little bit, I think that's enough. I just kind of get a bit bored with it. Well, I do love it. But yeah, I think it gets to a point where, you've got a good productive session and your strength's strong. But then once an hour and 15's gone for me, then that's enough. Next question. Hi. At the moment, I'm lifting, doing cardio and MMA boxing. I'm still not at my goal weight of 70 kilos. What would you suggest to start getting muscle definition? Do you think I should concentrate more on losing weight or should I continue with what I'm doing? Right. Again, this, it's hard to answer this question and there's quite a few like this because I don't know anything about you. You say you want to get to 70 kilos, but I don't know your height, what you're eating, how often you're training, how hard you're training. So I'm going to have to answer it quite generally. Providing that you have muscle there in the first place, the best thing to do to show the definition is just adjusting your calories so that you're eating a little bit less to reduce the body fat. So once the body fat is reduced, you then get to see more muscle, so therefore you look more defined. With everything, it's always a process, so it's something that you can't just switch on and go, okay, I'm just going to lose a bit of body fat now. Be very careful, be very conscious that you're eating enough. If you are doing MMA and boxing, make sure that you are eating enough to fuel your training. But with that being said, if you do want to look more defined, you will have to kind of cut some calories away or add more cardio or something similar. How much weight do you gain during the off season? Right. I don't feel like I've competed long enough to be able to give you an exact, this is what I am in my off season, this is what I am on stage. I was very big and fluffy in my last off season. I was 14 kilos over my stage weight, and that's the heaviest I've ever been, and I really didn't like it. I felt uncomfortable, I felt really self-conscious, and I never want to feel like that again. So that was too much. I did, however, put on some good, decent muscle. Whether I needed to be 14 kilos heavier to put on that muscle, I don't think so. But it happened. I've got some good muscle. I'm over it. Going forward for my off-season weight, I want to roughly be about 5 kilos heavier than my stage weight. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to base it on how I'm feeling. I think I mentioned this in my last video. If I'm training and I can take my top off and have my sports bra on and feel confident, that's a good place for me for my off season. If I'm feeling a bit, then I know that I've probably been eating a little bit too much and I need to rein it in a little bit. So I'm going to kind of go by how I feel, not look at the scales too much. Do you do fasted cardio? I did do fasted cardio for my prep. I don't do it anymore. I've started to do evening steady state cardio. We're just going to see what works, how it is, how my body responds to it, as opposed to fasted cardio. The off season is the best time to play around with things. So if you wanted to experiment with carb cycling, or higher protein on one day, lower protein on another day, or intermittent fasting, or training in the evening as opposed to training in the morning, or training fasted for cardio, or cardio for the evening. So at the moment, I'm going to be doing evening cardio, and we're just going to see how my body responds to that. So I do think fasted cardio is good, but at the moment I won't be doing it. 2 questions. What is the best macro calculator? I'm eating about 1,400 calories per day, plus I work out and do cardio a few times per week. I'm not sure if that's too little. Also, in order to lose the weight I've gained, is HIIT cardio necessary, or is high intensity cardio? I do elliptical and other machines similar, but not HIIT cardio, where I'm getting my heart rate right up. I just can't seem to be getting any results. Right, first question, macro calculator. I use something called Calorie calculator, and I think that works. As like I was talking about adjusting things, don't just find what the calculator tells you to eat in terms of macros. Play around with it. So have that as your base, but then depending on your progress, adjust it. So if you're eating, if you want to lose weight and you've got the macros there to, as your base from the calculator, and it's saying like eat this to lose weight, and you are losing weight, then great. Stick with those macros until you find that you reach a plateau, and then adjust them. If it's the other way around and you're losing weight but you want to maintain weight, then adjust your macros. Add some more carbohydrates, or add like a refeed in more frequently. Don't get stuck by this is what the calculator told me to have and this is what I'm going to have. Be very, always be up for changing things, and always be very on top of your progress. And if you're not progressing, then change it. So just focus on having the calculator as your base of macros, but then be ready to kind of move it around a little bit. Right, so again, the whole 1,400 calories per day, I don't know your height, your weight, your age, your activity level. So 1,400 calories per day, I can't tell you, unfortunately. The cardio, high intensity cardio, I do think has its place. I don't think, again, it's a general one. I've got clients that do high intensity cardio, and that they find works really well for fat burning. Going forward, being more specific, when you're at a calorie deficit and a big calorie deficit, I don't think HIIT is the best thing to do. So I'm going to use myself in this example. I'm working with a new coach who has got 30 years of experience in bodybuilding and really is very knowledgeable. And going forward for my Arnold prep, he doesn't want me to be doing any HIIT training at all. And I've always done HIIT training for burning fat. his theory behind it is that if you are at such a calorie deficit, when you're doing HIIT, your body is at such, it just wants to hold on to any fat it can to sort of keep it going. So because you're doing HIIT, it puts your body under so much trauma that your body's just going to hold on to fat. So I'm going to do exactly what he tells me to do for this prep, and that is no HIIT work at all. So it'll all be steady state for me. Now, that is very specific, and that is for someone that is going to be on stage. So it's going to be super lean and calories are a very big deficit. For someone generally to lose a little bit of weight, I do think HIIT is fine. I have clients that do HIIT and it works really well for them. So I think HIIT might be a good place to start. But again, like with the food, note it down, see what works. And if you're getting progress, great, keep it there. If you're not, having done it after about 3 or 4 weeks, then go, right, maybe that's not for me. I'll take it away and I'll add some steady state cardio in instead. So just be very open to play around with it and see. What mascara is that? So my mascara is Maybelline. It's been discontinued, which has broken my heart. It's called One by One. So like I said, it's been discontinued, so I don't know if you can get hold of it anymore. I think my local Sainsbury's does it, so I bought about 50. So yes, that's that. What are we on? Right, I think I'm going to answer 2 more and then that will be that. I'm having the worst time getting the fat off of my stomach. How can I go about helping that? Also, should I keep my rest days consistent, as in every Friday, or is it okay to mix it up? So, spot specific, reduce, that doesn't make any sense. Reducing body fat from somewhere specific is near impossible. You can't do it. What I will say is that a lot of people think, especially, if it's tummy fat, they think, right, I'll do lots of abs because I really want to work my tummy. That is going to do nothing for you in terms of using your time effectively to burn fat. The best thing you can do is big compound movements. The bigger, the better. So squats, deadlifts, lunges. It's just going to work so many more muscles than if you were just honing in and focusing on tummy. I get a lot of ladies that come in and for one-to-one sessions, and always, it will be, I've got bingo wings, They automatically think, right, well, should we do lots of tricep work? No, the muscle is so small. It really, if you've got body fat there, you're not going to see it at all. So yes, triceps extensions are good for defining and sculpting a muscle, but if there's body fat there, you're not going to see it. So if your goal is to reduce body fat from any area, the best thing you can do is do lots of resistance work, build lean muscle tissue all over, and therefore it will make your metabolism faster. You'll be more responsive to burning fat. And that's going forward every day. That's not just in the gym. That's whilst you're eating, while you're sitting on the sofa, your body's going to be burning fat. So think big movements, think building lean muscle tissue everywhere, not just focusing on your tummy, and that will really help with that. Again, when it is a case of you're fairly lean, but you've just got a bit of body fat somewhere, a lot of that is diet, unfortunately. So if you can really clean up your diet a little bit more, you'll probably find that it will help. But again, it needs to be at a stage where you can maintain it and feel good. So I hope that helps on that one. Right, one more question. What are your favourites for building the rear delts? Oh, too many. I think cables have got to be my fave. All different angles, bent over, standing, up high, single arm. I really like the cables just for the constant tension. So play around with partial movements. So for example, today after my back workout, I did some partial, so just working on just the bottom half of the movement, because I really feel that burns them. Try not to shrug too much. I see a lot of people when they train their posterior delts and they kind of end up doing that. And it's basically just really working rhomboids to try and retract your shoulders back. So just focus on a delicate movement. So for me, when I do posterior delts, my movement literally is just there and then back. So I kind of just feel it work, and then it's the tension's there. If I try and shrug anymore, I'm not going to feel it. So yeah, cables are brilliant. I also like the reverse pec deck machine. I think that's pretty cool. But I like to do that standing and really leaning forward, so my body's almost like that. Because there I find I get much better tension than kind of just sitting there and doing it conventionally. Yes, fab. Right, I got a few done. 15 minutes, nearly 16. So I will do a part 2 and a part 3 soon. I hope that's answered the questions, and I hope you found this helpful. I will be doing another video soon. Thanks, guys.